Everything you thought you knew about the 49ers draft is about to turn upside down. Yes, that is Christian McCaffrey with another novel training technique. But take another running back on the 49ers, Kaelon Black, the third-round pick, number 90 from the defending national champion Indiana Hoosiers. Turns out that he was the second-ranked running back on the 49ers draft board. That to the shock of many.
We had him as the second rated back on the board. So, I mean, that's just our evaluation of him. Right or wrong, that's our evaluation. And then you got to decide where you think he's going to go.
Presumably, Jeremiah Love, who went in the top 5 to the Arizona Cardinals, the 49ers will see him in the NFC West, was their top running back. But there was never a realistic chance that the 49ers would be able to draft Love. Many thought that Jadarian Price would be the number 2 running back on the 49ers board. After all, he ended up going in the first round to the Seattle Seahawks. But no, according to Kyle Shanahan, it was actually Kaelon Black who was number 2. And here's another crazy twist. Brady Henderson, who's a reporter for ESPN, actually said that the Seahawks themselves were worried that the 49ers might draft Jadarian Price at number 33 overall. This is an excerpt from his article. There was also concern that the San Francisco 49ers might take Price with the first pick of the second round. Seattle's division rivals later drafted Indiana running back Kaelon Black in round 3. This twist is made possible by the fact that the Seahawks now have Brian Fleury, the former 49ers run game coordinator, as their offensive coordinator. So the pool of running backs that the 49ers and the Seahawks are interested in is likely very, very similar. Of course, it all ended up working out. If Black indeed was the number 2 running back on the 49ers board, they're more than happy to get him at number 90. And now San Francisco does have an exceptionally talented running back room. Now, it isn't exceptionally proven for San Francisco outside, of course, Christian McCaffrey, who's hanging out upside down and doing a bunch of crazy, crazy workouts as he pushes into his year 30 season. In 2025, Christian McCaffrey just didn't have as much room to run as he had in the past. So the 49ers obviously need to improve their perimeter blocking game. Hey, if we want to talk about pick number 33, whom the 49ers actually selected there, Dejon Stribling, there's film of him as a lead blocker in the run game for Ole Miss. He might be the best blocking receiver in this 2026 draft class. He should help the 49ers develop a perimeter presence that does spring more room for Christian McCaffrey downfield. But the rest of that running back room, you've got Kaelon Black, obviously. I slot him in right away as running back number 2 because I think that physically he's a more impressive player than Jordan James. And obviously the 49ers drafted Kaelon higher. So that does probably show you that he's held in a higher athletic regard than the 2025 fifth-round pick. But Jordan James did ascend ahead of Isaac Guerendo on the depth chart last year. We just didn't get to see Jordan on the field in an offensive capacity until garbage time of the 49ers playoff loss to the Seattle Seahawks. Of course, there is the Guerendo question, and it's one that not looking bright for Isaac Guerendo at this point. If you're talking about pure athletic profile, I mean, his rivaled Saquon Barkley's coming out of Louisville in the 2024 NFL draft, but Guerendo does run upright. He doesn't have the contact balance, I think, of a Jordan James, of a Kaelon Black, definitely not of a Christian McCaffrey. I think that he's more track star than pure football player. I think that ball security has also been an issue. And unless he takes a massive, massive jump here heading into year 3, in terms of actual football comfort, and that also, of course, is going to entail pass protection, something that Kaelon Black is really, really good at. You have to earn the trust of the coaching staff. It's not about how fast you move. It's about how you move and how tough you are. Unless Isaac Guerendo can reverse course and check all those boxes, he might not even be on this team in 2026. So, and if that ends up being the case, then it's Kaelon Black against Jordan James as for that running back number 2 spot behind Christian McCaffrey. One of the laziest takes I see with Kaelon Black is, oh, he didn't catch the football at Indiana. He wasn't asked to catch the football at Indiana. He was asked to pass protect, and he did a hell of a job in that regard, but he only caught 8 passes over 2 years for the Hoosiers. Prior to that, with James Madison before transferring. There was a season where Kaelon Black had 26 catches. And, the reason that John Lynch really fell in love with this guy was the Senior Bowl. And I'm sure Kyle Shanahan fell in love with his Senior Bowl tape as well. He was routing people up at the Senior Bowl. Just because you didn't do something in college doesn't mean that you can't do it in the NFL. Roger Craig was a fullback coming out of the University of Nebraska, where he wasn't all too used in the pass game, ended up becoming the NFL's first 1,000 guy for the 49ers, did so ahead of even Christian McCaffrey and Marshall Faulk. Everybody knows that Roger Craig is now deservedly in the Hall of Fame, and perhaps that little look at 49ers history should assure you that roles can and will change moving from college to the NFL. Let's move on to some of the other news of the day. Philadelphia Eagles have agreed to a contract extension for Big Dom, otherwise known as Dom DeSandro. We could call him Dust Up Dom DeSandro, for the slight scuffle with Dre Greenlaw in that 2023 49ers blowout over the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, I will say that the 49ers went to bat for Big Dom to make sure that he wouldn't get kicked off the sideline or punished too severely by the NFL after that game. They heard that he's very liked in Philadelphia and that this was a one-off incident. And I actually met Big Dom at the NFL Combine, I think a couple months after that game. I think that was that year. And yeah, he indeed was a cool guy in person. So congratulations to him. Contract extension for the Philadelphia Eagles. The 49ers are going to hold their rookie minicamp on Thursday and Friday. And it's going to be our first chance to talk to the new defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris. I wrote an article up on the San Francisco Standard discussing how Morris's fingerprints might be visible on this defense. The most obvious case will be with the new edge rusher, Romello Height, where it's already been made clear that Height, who's 239 pounds, so lighter even than Bryce Huff and Dee Ford and other 49ers 4-3 edge rushers, it's been made clear that he's going to be dropping back a little bit as an outside linebacker in coverage. That doesn't necessarily mean that the 49ers are going to be living in a 3-4, but it does verify that they're going to be running more 5-man fronts with some 3-4 properties. So they're going to be staying at home in a 4-3, but the addition of Romello Height gives them expandability with those 4-3 speed rushing defensive ends, or at least in the case of Height, with one 4-3 speed rushing defensive end to drop into coverage and open up more lanes for the 49ers through some deception rushing-wise along the front. Remember that linebackers have gotten smaller over the years. It's funny because when Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman played, both of those guys weighed over 240 pounds. Now Romello Height, who's known as a very light defensive end, well, he is lighter than even Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman were as linebackers. But we can say that that weight for Romello Height and athleticism and the way that he plays with his hair on fire, he won the whatever it takes score out of all draftees. The 49ers track who plays most with their hair on fire. It should allow Romello Height to run around and play some outside linebacker in situations that Raheem Morris finds to be suitable. So that's one big change to watch for. Given this adaptability, given the fact that the 49ers have a draft pick on defense that's essentially going to be playing two roles, we do have to talk about another draft pick on defense who might even be more of a rover for the 49ers, although it could take some time for him to get acclimated. And that is Jaden Duggar, the 5th-round pick out of the University of Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns. Last time the 49ers drafted a player out of Louisiana, he was a good pick. It was Elijah Mitchell, the running back in the 6th round of the 2021 draft. Well, Jaden Duggar, I think a little on the light side, but he is tall and he's got the long arms. 35-inch arm length. For comparison, Fred Warner's at 32 inches. And Fred Warner doesn't have short arms, but Jaden Duggar has very long arms at 35 inches. It gives some coaches, and it has given some coaches, the idea that he could rush off the edge, which he did his first year at Louisiana. Prior to that, he was a safety at Georgetown. Now, Georgetown's a slower level of football. 4.60 40 for Jaden Duggar. Fast enough, I think, to play safety. I mean, Jair Brown wasn't faster than that, and he's playing safety at the NFL level. But I think that typically at the NFL level, if you're going to be roaming, covering on the back end, You want 4.5 speed or better. Duggar doesn't have that, but he's still faster than linebackers. Fred Warner was at a 4.62, 4.63. Duggar at a 4.60. So longer arms than Warner, slightly faster than Warner, lighter than Warner. Struggled, I will say, Duggar did at inside linebacker last year for Louisiana. But the fact that he has played safety, edge rusher / outside linebacker, and inside linebacker in 3 successive seasons, coming into a system that I just demonstrated is going to have some adaptability with Raheem Morris. I mean, look at what he was able to do with Jalen Walker over in Atlanta. I mean, they had a couple of those very versatile defenders on the back end. Raheem Morris, and this goes back to the Rams too. I think it's something he picked up from the Brandon Staley, Vic Fangio tree when he was coordinator of the Rams. They had defensive backs roving the star position. Jalen Ramsey, well, the roving has now moved more to the front 7 for Raheem Morris's defenders, and I do think that somebody like Jaden Duggar might ultimately fit into an adaptable piece that Raheem Morris wants. The question is, will it be right away, or is the guy going to have a redshirt year? You know, some people say, well, his tape was really rough as an inside linebacker his last season of college, so he's going to have to redshirt. Morris, though, could have pass rushing specialist ideas for him. He could have him training at inside linebacker, but he can also say, you know, I don't want to burn a roster spot on somebody who's just essentially going to be redshirting. So I'm going to want him to use those long arms to be in blitz packages for us. And he could also cover maybe a little bit if you have a pared down role for him. We don't know which direction Morris is going to go with this. He should speak at the 49ers rookie minicamp coming up this weekend, and we will have a chance to see both Jaden Duggar and Romello Height there, 2 defenders whom I think the 49ers have very, very versatile plans for moving forward. Other update, Mike behind the scenes is working on a new 49ers data center that's going to take our channel up to the next level. Take a look at this. He's breaking things down into team tiers, individual 49ers data information available. So you can go check out Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey, or EPA or expected points added per play in the red zone. 49ers number 1 of 32 teams ahead of the Colts, Broncos, Lions, Bills, and the Philadelphia Eagles, the fighting Dom DeSandros. That coming soon for Mike. You'll also be able to compare teams, like this comparison between the 49ers and the Chiefs. Should be really, really cool stuff available for you, or at least available for us on the channel. All right, for me, back to this. It's been a busy, busy couple of weeks. Already on day 16 of this, but time flies when you are having fun.